Hi guys, this is Pratishta and I hope everyone is doing really great today. So in this lecture, we are going to start with a new grammar concept, which is articles and prepositions. Now, articles and prepositions are such a small thing, but they are extremely important when you are creating a sentence. And if you are, for example, missing out on an article or a preposition, or you make a mistake, the complete sentence meaning can change. And that is why they are extremely important to understand and to learn. And basically, all prepositions and articles, the way you place them, their location, their meaning, everything can change the real meaning of the sentence. So, with that being said, let us get started and let us see what are articles, what are prepositions, and how we can use them. So, I will share my screen now. All right. So, in today's lesson, we are going to start with a basic general introduction to intermediate grammar. So, now we are not on beginner's level, we are on intermediate. We are on an intermediate level, right? And we are going to look for articles and prepositions. So, we will understand articles. If you remember, we have done it in school, it's a and the. We will use prepositions correctly. So we have a lot of prepositions and we will try to understand and learn how to use them correctly. And then we will practice grammar in these sentences, right? So we will have some real life practice examples as well. So understanding articles, what are articles basically, right? So in English, we have a few articles that will tell you more about the object. If the object is a specific object or if it's not specific, right? That is the only thing. Now we have types of articles. We have indefinite articles and definite articles. Indefinite means not particular or defined. It means not defined, not particular and not defined. Definite article means particular objects or defined objects. I will just write not here so that it's more clear. Not particular, not defined. Here it is particular objects or defined objects, right? It's pretty easy. When I say a book and the book, do you think there is a difference? Of course there is. A book can be any book. Can you get me a book? Which one? We don't know. Any book. Can you get me a book? That's all. But can you get me the book that John gave me yesterday? So can you get me the book? That is particular. I'm talking about a particular kind of a book, right? Indefinite articles are two in English. We have a and an. Definite article, there is just one, which is the. If you remember, we have also done vowels, right? So in English, vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. So any word that starts with A is a vowel. For example, apple, elephant, ice cream, orange, umbrella. When a word starts with a vowel, we cannot use A in front of it if it is not defined. Now we are talking about a random apple, right? So we have to use an apple and not a apple. An random elephant, an ice cream, an orange, an umbrella, right? There are, of course, a few exceptions, but right now it's just important to understand the basics that we will use an in front of anything that begins with vowel, right? So that is pretty much it. Now, there are some rules. Again, although we discussed it in the previous slide, I gave you some examples as well, but we will also try to read and try to understand. So we use A before words that begin with consonants. Now, in the alphabets, we saw that vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. Rest all the alphabets are called consonants. So with consonants, we will use A. With vowels, we will use an. Right? An apple, an hour. Now this is an exception because H is not really a vowel, right? So there are a few exceptions, but they are very less. Now, why did we use an with it? It's basically just for convenience, right? When I say an hour, if you see the sound of hour, H is silent, right? We are not saying an hour. We are saying an hour. So essentially it is O sound, which is a vowel, and that is why we have used an. So there are very few exceptions here. When to use the, which is definite. Use the when referring to something specific or previously mentioned, right? When it has been talked about already, when you know what you're talking about. Use the with unique objects or concepts, right? So with unique objects, things that you know are unique, they stand out. If there is, for example, let's assume this is a basket, right? And then there are a lot of oranges in it, right? For example, these are all the oranges. Now, if I am talking about a unique orange, then I will use the, right? For example, there is this one apple. This is the, because it's unique in the basket of orange. The apple in the basket of orange. Can you get me the apple that's there in the basket of oranges? That is particular. So this is how we differentiate between definite and indefinite articles and how to use them with objects. Now, we have a simple activity, right? I want you to take a look at it for a minute and try to identify if these objects are particular or not. So here, what you need to do is you need to just take some time, try to see if I'm talking about a particular thing or a non-particular thing, right? So I saw dash dog in the park. Dash dog was very friendly. I saw, is it talking about a random dog or a particular dog? A random dog. I saw a dog in the park. Now, dash dog was very friendly. Now I know which dog I'm talking about. So the dog. She wants to buy dash apple from the store. Now, what is this object? First of all, it's a vowel. Second of all, is it like some particular apple? No. So we will use indefinite article, an. Dash sun is shining brightly today. Now the object is sun. There is only one sun in the entire universe, and we cannot talk about a different sun, right? So we will use the sun, particular sun. Can you pass me dash pen on the table? Now this is the pen, right? Pen is, it starts with a, I would say a consonant, first of all, that is what you will notice. And it is a particular pen on the table. Can you pass me the pen on the table? Right? It's talking about a specific pen which is kept on the table. Probably there are other pens that are kept probably on the sofa, on the chair, but they are talking about a particular pen on the table. He is dash teacher at dash local school. Is first of all, here the object is teacher, here the object is local school, right? Now he is dash teacher. He is the teacher? No, because it's not a particular teacher. He is a teacher at local school. Which local school? Probably that city has a lot of local schools. So nothing is mentioned, nothing is being told, nothing particular is being said about this local school. So at a local school. We visited Dash Museum yesterday. So our object is museum, right? And we are talking about random museum. I have not mentioned which museum I'm talking about. So we visited a museum yesterday. I have dash idea for dash new project, right? First of all, idea is a vowel, but it's not a particular idea. I can have probably 10 ideas, and I'm not talking about a particular one. I'm just saying I have an idea for dash new project. I am talking about a specific project which is new for the new project. I could have many projects, but this is the new one. It's a particular one. Now, these were just sentences. We also can get it in a paragraph format, right? So this will have some context related to it, and it is going to be more advanced. This is an advanced activity. So yesterday I had an interesting conversation with a friend who recently moved to the city. He told me about a restaurant he discovered near his apartment, right? Because I had an interesting conversation with a friend, right? Could be any friend who has recently moved to the city. Obviously, this particular city that they are living in. He told me about a restaurant. Could be any restaurant, but he just told me about a restaurant he discovered near his apartment. According to him, the food there, particular food of the restaurant, is amazing, especially the pasta of the restaurant. So you have to sort of here look at the context. In this paragraph form, it is more difficult because you have to look at the context. You have to look at the previous information too. He said that the chef who owns the restaurant. Now here you know which restaurant they are talking about. Here you did not know which restaurant they are talking about, right? The chef, of course, the chef of the restaurant. So it would be the particular chef who owns that particular restaurant is well known in the area. That particular area, what was that area? Is near his apartment, and has worked in the famous kitchens around the world. There is only one world, so we are referring to that one particular word. Later that day, I decided to visit the restaurant myself because we know we have that information about the restaurant. As I walked in, I noticed a beautiful painting on the wall. On the wall, particular wall that is there of the restaurant, and he noticed a beautiful painting. There could have been many paintings. It turned out to be a piece by a local artist. Not, we don't know who that local artist is. We don't know which exact piece of art it is. I ordered the pasta dish and a glass of wine. So we don't know which particular wine, but they did order the pasta dish that his friend told him about. The meal, this particular meal of pasta and wine was indeed as delicious as my friend had described. After dinner, I spoke to the chef who was very friendly and shared some cooking tips with me. Chef is the particular chef, so that is why we used the with it. Now we have some prepositions, right? So what are prepositions? Prepositions are words that show the relationship between a noun or a pronoun and other words in a sentence. So it connects noun to other words and tell more about them, especially about their location. Especially. So some common prepositions are place related, time related, and direction related. And they can help to clarify meanings in sentence, right? So place related prepositions are in, on, at, under, next to, below, above, corner, etc. Time, before, after, during, at, next week, tomorrow, today, all these things. Direction, to, I'm going to the market, coming from the market, towards, into, All these are directions. Let's see some examples of the place, prepositions of place here. So we have in. The books are in the box. It talks about its location, its place. The keys are on the table. She is waiting at the bus stop. The cat is hiding under the bed, below the bed. The lamp is next to the sofa, right? So this talks about the location of the object. Time. It should talk about the time. We should leave before the movie starts. So it's the time before the movie starts. They went out for dinner after the meeting. So it talks about the time after the meeting. She fell asleep during the lecture. So what was the time? It was between that lecture time. I will see you at 3 p.m. Exactly at 3 p.m. Time is mentioned. Direction. To, she is going to the store. He is coming from the office. The dog ran towards the ball and she walked into the room or inside the room or even towards the room. So how to use these prepositions correctly, right? In is specifically used for months, years, seasons, and inside places. For example, month in June, year in 2020, and inside in the room, seasons in autumn. On is used for days and something that is on the surface of a thing. So on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on this day, on that day, and on the table. On the table, on the shelf, on the chair, on the bench, etc. At is used for specific time and specific places. At 5 p.m. is a specific time. At the park is a specific location. So she is sitting on the chair. We are meeting at noon. Noon is particular 12 p.m. For example, months, my birthday is in June. Years, he graduated in 2020. Seasons, we go ski in winter. And some places. The kids are playing in the garden. So inside the garden, basically. On, the meeting is on Monday day. The keys are on the kitchen counter. It's a surface. Her appointment is on the 15th of April. Public transport, he is on the bus. At is used for specific time. Let's meet at 7 p.m. Specific place, she is waiting at the entrance. Specific events, they had a great time at the concert. And addresses, I live at 123 Maple Street. Right? So these are some things that you can keep in mind. This would be easy for you. It's like a cheat sheet for you, right? So it would be easy for you to remember when to use in, on, and at. Now we have some practice activities, right? Find the articles and prepositions in the following sentence. It's pretty easy. You already know articles before an object, a cat, and the roof. These are articles. This is indefinite, this is definite. What is the preposition? Something that talks about the location. So on is your preposition. They will arrive at the airport. It's a preposition. In an hour, preposition. And articles are the airport and an hour. So what you can do is you can try to create more sentences by using articles and prepositions in a proper manner. Now let's look at some activities. Fill in the blank with the correct preposition. The cat is hiding in the table. It's inside the table, on the table, or under the table. In this case, you can use on to show if it is on the table, under if she's under the table. So both are fine, to be honest. She goes to the gym dash the morning. In the morning seems like the perfect option. It cannot be on the morning. It cannot be at the morning because specific time is not given. So in. The book is in the shelf. Could be if that shelf is like it has some space, like where you can put the book inside the shelf, on the shelf, under the shelf. It can be under the shelf depending on the location, but the most suitable answer is on. They arrived dash the airport at 6 p.m. At the airport, on the airport, or in the airport. So they cannot arrive on the airport. If they are going inside, then probably in. But at this point of time, at the airport, because it's talking about specific location, it's the correct option. We are meeting dash Monday. We are meeting on Monday. If you remember, on is used with days. The children are playing at the park, in the park, on the park. So on is definitely not because they are not on the park. At the park could be in the park if they are inside the park. He left his bag on the chair, under the chair, at the chair. At is definitely not the answer. On, if it is on the chair, or even it can be under the chair, right? But usually on makes more sense in a real life situation. Then we have advanced activity because it's related to a complete paragraph with context. So let's take a look. Last summer, I decided to take a trip in Europe. I arrived at the airport early in the morning, excited for my adventure. My first destination was Paris, where I stayed in a small hotel in the city center. Right? So it was in a hotel in a city center. Every morning, I would enjoy my breakfast on the balcony because you always sit on the balcony, overlooking the beautiful streets below. During my stay, I visited many famous landmarks. Landmarks are like monuments or favorite places, like touristic spots, including Eiffel Tower, which I admired at sunset. Particular time, sunset. After a week, I traveled to Italy, where I spent most of the time in Rome. I was particularly fascinated by the ancient ruins in the heart of the city, so inside it. Finally, I returned home, feeling grateful for the experiences and memories I had made on my journey. Right? This is how you try and go to advanced level by first practicing with beginners level. So again, I would specifically say that try to speak and focus on the pronunciation, the intonation of using these little grammatical phrases as well. Try to speak these phrases aloud in front of your partner, in front of your friends, in front of the TV, mirror, whatever you feel is the best thing, right? Try to use and see which word will use a, which word will use an, which word can use the. Even in your general life situations, try to focus when you are speaking, try to focus what have I used and why. So the more questions like this you will ask to yourself, the better you would be at grasping the understanding and knowledge, right? And so what we did today was we understood what articles are. We looked at definite and indefinite kinds of articles. We introduced ourselves to prepositions and their common usage. We practiced grammar. We took a look at the easy and the advanced exercises. Now, what I would suggest is you try to write 10 sentences using definite articles, indefinite articles. Try to make sentences using prepositions and the kinds of prepositions that we did. Try to speak them loudly so that it is retained more in your head. Try to also make some short paragraphs or try to read paragraphs and try to underline and identify what kind of preposition it was, what kind of article it was. And with that being said, I hope you understand articles and prepositions because they form a really huge part of grammar. It is basic, but it will surely help you lead, to advanced communications, and it would make your particular conversations pretty much comprehensible to the other person. Thank you so much, and I hope I will see you in the next lesson.